Good morning. We have a new tune to do. You'll see the lyrics on the screen in a moment. This is called Swing Wide the Doors by Oman. A very famous unity style writer. And off we go. If you'll please rise. We're going to try to learn this song and get her done. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I live for, and that's what life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. Lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing by the doors of this heart of mine. There's a voice that I've heard for years. I've learned to keep it inside. But now it's coming in loud and clear. I want a deeper light. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. Lending a hand, so swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors. Big finish of this heart of mine.
Good morning. Today and every day, we have swung wide the doors to the presence of God, knowing that Spirit is in this place and in all places and all people. Just as the sun, we do have a glorious sun out today, just as the sun awakens us to a new day, the Spirit of God within awakens us to divine glory. This glory within and around us is everywhere we look and in every situation we encounter. With our hearts centered in Spirit, we can quiet our thoughts and meditate on the wonder of all of God's creation and our oneness with it. So I invite you now to take a deep breath, become comfortable, and gently release any cares of the day. Your sole purpose at this moment is to experience the divine, and you begin to do so now as you relax in this sacred time and space at Unity Spiritual Center. Seeing through eyes of oneness, acknowledging our oneness, we at Unity Spiritual Center celebrate and honor people of every culture, of every creed, of every religion, of every race, of every age, and every lifestyle, knowing there are many paths to God, many faces of God, many names for God, but only one God. And that God is expressing through all people in unique, special, and individual ways. So as you look at the flame of the worship candle that we light every Sunday, remember that you yourself carry a divine flame within as an individualized expression of God. We honor the one presence and power of God with Unity's foundation statement, which you'll find on page 2 of your bulletin under order of service and on the screen. I invite you to join me in saying it aloud together. There is only one presence and one power, active in this universe and as my life, God the good, omnipotent. We give thanks for our spiritual community and for the beauty of our spiritual center. We give thanks that Unity Spiritual Center is a warm, welcoming, and inclusive community dedicated to studying and putting into practice empowering principles and tools for happiness, health, prosperity, and successful living. We give thanks that with our spiritual teachings, we can create extraordinary lives and a peaceful planet through our relationship with the loving God presence within each one of us, and through our relationships with each other. Our vision and the opportunity for each one of us here is that you discover the power within you to create the life of your dreams, that you have peace of mind and deep happiness, that you enjoy joyous and loving relationships with yourself, with spirit, and with others, that you spend your days doing what you love and feel called to do, and that you know that your life matters, that you make a difference, and that the world is a better place because you're here. If you're visiting us for the first time, and I think there are a couple of you, we do have gifts that we'd like to give out that you should have received when you walked through the door. But if you didn't, just hold your hand up, and our usher John will bring them to you. There's a welcome packet with information about Unity in general and Unity Spiritual Center in particular, and a shell-lay that has a tag on it that says, just as God has a design for every shell in the sea, God also has a design for your life. So has everybody received their welcome gift who may be visiting us for the first time? We know that being around a table can give us a wonderful sense of connection. So that's why you'll see tables in our sanctuary, as a symbol of the warmth and hospitality that we can enjoy when gathered together. Each table includes 2 communal journals in which everyone at any time is welcome to share a poem, a prayer, a meaningful quotation, or even just a personal reflection. It's another way that we can get to know each other. And we, of course, also set up food tables next door. So please do join us following the service for our hospitality hour in the Fillmore room, where we'll have an opportunity to meet and greet each other over a wonderful spread. And know that if you have any questions, you just want to talk about Unity principles or spiritual living, I am always delighted to have those conversations with you, and you can contact me at the information that's printed on the back of your bulletin. So at this time, as we move into the meditative part of our service and prepare to raise our voices together in song, please do make sure that you've turned off all cell phones or other electronic devices. And let us stand and sing.
God is my source. I'm going to steal Arlene already. Arlene, I'm going to steal you already. This is the right tune to play the djembe. So it sounds like this. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. All right, I'm going to sing another verse, and then we're going to sing that as a chorus. 1 second. Ready? Here we go. I'm going to sing for us. Try something new. Try something different. Try something never done before. Learn something new. Learn something different. Learn something never done before. Sing together. My source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. I'm not afraid. I'm not embarrassed. Don't worry what my friends will say. Walk out that door, embrace the world. It's what we are here for. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. I have my hope. I have my spirit. I have the will to get it done. So I step out and make the changes. A new day has begun. Oh, God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. Thank you, Arlene. Good drummer.
Don't go too far. As we continue to get comfortable in our seats, relaxing even more deeply into this time of worship, prayer, and meditation. Let us open our hearts now to receive the message of today's daily word, which will be read by our percussionist, You get all kinds of jobs here. So the daily word for today is meaning. I am a child of God, living a life of meaning and purpose. Humankind has continually questioned the meaning of life. Joseph Campbell summed it up when he said, "The meaning of life is whatever you ascribe it to be. Being alive is the meaning." Today, I feel grateful to be alive, to be on the journey called life. I open my physical eyes to the beauty around me, the trees, the sun, the flowers, the people I meet. And I open my spiritual eyes to God, knowing that I'm a child of God on a divinely directed path of good, a unique and personal path. I don't spend time worrying about what to do. I just embrace the day and all that it has in store for me. I open my eyes to the blessings of God, grateful to be alive. And the verse comes from Deuteronomy 28:12. The Lord will open for you his rich storehouse, the heavens, to give the rain of your land in its season, and to bless all your undertakings. Amen. Thank you, Arlene. Unity Spiritual Center is a center of prayer and healing. Please keep the prayer requests that you'll see placed on the box or placed in the box on the table in your heart. These are the prayers of our community. You're always welcome to leave a prayer request in the box. But it's nice to have it in front of us so we can remember that that does hold the hearts of people in our community and beyond. So as you look at that, please do keep them in your heart and know that divine love is unfolding each one of them, that divine order is taking place in each of their lives. The prayer requests that are placed in the box are prayed on by me and our prayer team for 30 days, and then they're forwarded to Silent Unity at Unity's World Headquarters, where they're prayed on for another 30 days. Prayer requests are available in the back of the sanctuary next to the candle rack, and you are also always invited to light a candle to make your prayers visible. And at this time, we want to make our prayers audible. This is the time to offer your prayer needs to your spiritual family here so that we can support you and stand with you. So as Michael plays the music, you are invited to speak your prayer aloud. And each time a prayer is spoken aloud, we as a congregation will answer each prayer by singing, "Your prayer is my prayer too."
So repeat after me once I do our first lines. It'll be very obvious what needs to be done, and then we'll be into your prayer section. It sounds like this, so follow me. We are connected by the heart. Where do I start? What do you feel? I feel too. You're a part of me. I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too. If you have a prayer that needs to be said for someone, say their name out loud or say what you need to say about it. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too.
Healing for Evelyn Forrester, who had surgery on Friday.
Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too.
Father, Mother God, Sacred Spirit, Divine Mind and Life, we give thanks for this opportunity to bless and to be blessed in spirit. We give thanks for the feelings of connection, of peace, and warmth that fill our hearts and minds right now. We give thanks for the privilege of praying for others in our community and around the globe. And we affirm that always and in all ways, divine love and divine order is everywhere present. At Unity Spiritual Center, your prayer is our prayer too. And so it is. Amen.
Can we talk it over? Let's talk it over and hear each other's view. Can we sit together and figure whether this is the right thing to do? I hate the thought of being misunderstood, missing the point of all that is good. Can't we talk it over? A conversation, an affirmation. Don't wait until tomorrow. Let's talk it over right now. Can't we talk it over? Let's talk it over and keep an open mind. Together, birds of a feather, and find our future aligned. Listen to your problems, listen to mine. No one gets mad, it all will be fine. Can't we talk it over? We'll have some coffee. It won't be awful hard to do. I'll talk it over with you.
Good morning. And welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco on this beautiful day. So I've got a quotation for you. Always keep an open mind and a compassionate, or we might say an open heart. Always keep an open mind and a compassionate or open heart. Does anybody know who said that? Do you know who said that, Michael? Yeah, the music's been great. It's matched perfectly. That was said by Phil Jackson, the great basketball coach Phil Jackson, who I'm not following, but evidently his team's having kind of a tough season right now. But he has a record of being a wonderful, inspiring coach who has brought a lot of wisdom and class to the game for many, many years. So I thought it was a useful quotation to open today with. We're not basketball players, but we do play at the game of life, right? So something to keep in mind, the importance of an open heart and an open mind. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Our theme for September is opening. It's opening up. It's opening to receive. It's opening to learn. It's opening to bridge differences. It's an important thing that we all need practice at. And why we all need practice at it is because we need to be open when we experience change. Change happens all the time, doesn't it? Little changes, big changes, and the more we can be open, the more easily we're going to navigate those changes. And as some of you who've been here before, who maybe weren't here last week, have noticed, there are some changes in our service. We have added tables to our sanctuary, and if you're seated at a table, you'll find a more lengthy explanation of the possibilities of being at table. I also mentioned them a little bit earlier on. You've also noticed changes in a few of the ways that we open up in the mornings with adding our audible prayers. What do you think about that? Do you like the opportunity to share your prayers aloud? Am I hearing an amen on that? Yeah, it's very sweet, isn't it? It's very important, and it helps us to connect with one another. So yes, that's kind of the story behind that, is that we're looking at ways to create a greater sense of connection and communion. And in order to do that, we need to keep ourselves open to big and small changes. So I want to say, as we sort of jump into this topic, that I'm aware that being open-hearted and being open-minded isn't always easy, is it? And don't want to go there, so we'll just like touch it and then run right back. But especially this time of the election season, right? No matter who your candidate may be, sometimes to feel completely open-hearted and open-minded. So it's really important for us to be able to develop that capacity to be open, to learn from one another. But I want to say right at the get-go, the reason that we're looking at this is not so we will change our mind. You know, being an open-minded person and an open-hearted person doesn't mean that you have to accept somebody else's opinion. That's not what we're talking about here. You know, you're going to have good reasons for feeling the way you do. So I'm not suggesting that being open-minded, being open-hearted means being able to be swayed from whatever particular opinion you hold. But what I am saying is that when we're open-minded and when we're open-hearted, we can learn, right? We can learn from others. We can learn why they may feel the way we do. Sometimes we may learn a piece of information or a perspective that adds a little more depth to the opinion we choose to have. But being open-minded and hearted is always an attitude that's going to give to us. It's never going to take away. It's always going to give. It'll give additional dimension to a problem or a challenge. It'll give additional understanding of the person you may be in conversation with. It'll broaden you. That's why we strive to stay open. And I want to say too that when we feel something very deeply, or when we hold a very passionate belief about something, then we want to guard against judging somebody who doesn't have that same opinion. Because the interesting paradox about it is that when we begin to change someone who holds an opposite opinion or quality or experience, then we paradoxically become like that person, right? When we go into judgment, then we're right smack dab in the middle of the behavior that we're having a feeling about. So I just thought for fun that I would read you a list of qualities. And I want you to consider when you hear these, and you can nod your head, indicate if you think they are relevant. Consider whether these sound like qualities of a spiritually oriented person. Someone who is willing to accept what is. Yes? Someone who is willing to embrace change. Yeah. Someone who has a high level of curiosity. Someone who is willing to try new things. Someone who doesn't judge. I think universally we can agree, yes, that's a spiritual orientation. Someone who respects people's differences. Someone who doesn't label people. Someone who lives in the present. Someone who turns problems into opportunities. Now, did that sound like a pretty good list for at least starting a conversation about a spiritually oriented person, qualities that a spiritually oriented person would have? What's interesting about it is that those are all qualities that I took from a list of qualities of an open-minded person. So this was a completely non-spiritual article on, what an open-minded person is all about, but they're spiritual qualities, aren't they? So I think that, yes, we can say that keeping our minds open and our hearts open very much is a part of our spiritual development. And again, just want to say that it's not about changing your mind, but it is about being open enough to listen, to try to understand why someone might feel or believe the way they do. And in order to do that, in order to open ourselves and to listen, then to a certain extent we have to embrace the quality of humility, don't we? We have to stand on that truth, actually, it's a truth, that we don't have all the answers. We don't know everything. And that we do have something to learn from every person we encounter. We absolutely can learn something from every person we encounter. Sometimes we may learn what we don't want to be, or what we don't want to embody, or what we don't want to take a stand for. But we still can learn if we're open to doing that. So in effect, when somebody has an open mind, what they're saying is, come in, stranger, come on in. Let me hear what you have to say. That person may or may not become a friend, but someone with an open mind never automatically closes the door on something just because it's unfamiliar or different. Someone with an open mind holds the belief that every encounter is going to hold value for them, some kind of value, something they didn't know before, something they hadn't thought of before. And when we allow ourselves to be open enough to do that, it's like I said last week, that wonderful, it's not an adage exactly, but it's a spiritual teaching that, what posture is going to help you to keep more? Like say you're holding sand, or say you're holding water. Is it when your hand is gently cupped and open? Or is it when you're clenched tight, trying to hold on to what you have? It is when you stay open that you can hold the most, receive the most. So, we're talking today in general about people, but I'm also talking specifically about people that we're in relationship with. Now, it's an interesting thing because generally speaking, the people who we are in relationship with are people who we do share something in common with, right? I mean, generally speaking, your friends are people with whom you share something, whether it's an interest in a hobby, or whether it's a neighborhood, or whether it's a spiritual belief. Generally speaking, in our relationships, we do have some common ground, right? We do have some kind of foundation that we share. And isn't it true that where personal relationships can become really challenging is when you bump up against the places where you don't share the same belief? Yeah, it can be really hard. And those are the times, when we're, locking horns, when we're, face to face and totally on different sides of an opinion or a belief or an understanding, that we really need to become open, because it's so easy to shut down. That's the consequence. If being open, if the reward is being able to hold more, the consequence of shutting down is that you lose. You lose what you have. You lose that common feeling of connection. So that's the practice, isn't it? To stay open, to listen, to be humble enough to discover something you hadn't considered before. And as I've said a couple of times, not so that you'll necessarily change your mind, but that you can have a greater sense of understanding about the other person and can see that sometimes our differences are not so much about right or wrong, but just about another facet of a gemstone. So last week I mentioned Jesus' teaching in Matthew 18:3. Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. And as we mentioned, last week, becoming like little children, what does that mean? That means becoming open, becoming willing to learn something, becoming willing to be formed. So to help us cultivate that feeling of becoming like little children, I'm going to read you a story. And this is a story that talks about staying open-hearted and open-minded. And this was a story that I heard a couple months ago when I went to a creativity symposium in Idaho. And this little story touched me very much, and I think it will touch you too. So hold on one second. I'm going to pull up my chair and my microphone, and you're going to hear a story. This book is called Where Our Petals Touch. And it's by a young woman, so sweet. She was so excited. She was 25. And she had just gotten this book published. And she autographed it for me. I said, I'm an author, and I really want to honor you as being an author. Will you please autograph my copy? And she did. So one second, I'm going to put this down, and we'll hear Where Our Petals Touch by Callie Ma. Now, I realize that you won't get the full visual that you might if you were sitting closer, hint, hint. But I think thank you, Kathy, but I think you'll get enough of it that you will still enjoy the story. Again, this is Where Our Petals Touch by Callie Mon. The world, thank you, Micah. The world is a bright, beautiful place full of bright, beautiful things. In this world, plants and animals, water and sunshine work together to make the earth a wonderful place to live. As humans, we also work together to make the world better for ourselves, for each other, and for all of Earth's creations. Sometimes, while we are working together to make the world a better place to live, we misunderstand each other. Can I hear a witness? When we misunderstand each other, it's easy to start sorting people and to start believing that people who look the same or dress the same or go to the same places are the same. And they're little boxes: black, white, old, young, weird, popular. We start putting people into little boxes. Before we know it, we start expecting certain people to act certain ways before we even know them. We squish each other under umbrellas, assuming that if one person treats us poorly, then every other person with the same hair or skin or car or house or job will treat us poorly too. And here are the little umbrellas that we squish people under. And we stay apart. Big gap. The truth is, people who seem the same are not the same. And people don't belong in boxes or under umbrellas because no person has just one important part. People have lots of important parts, like songs have harmonies, and mosaics have colors, and paintings have layers, and flowers have petals. Maybe if we could look at a soul under a microscope, it would look like a flower with hundreds of petals. And maybe we would be able to see that each petal is a sacred part of that soul. And maybe we would be able to see that as people learn and grow and experience things, their petals grow and change too. So it starts with a little petal, then they start growing and growing and growing. And some of the petal names are career, age, hobbies, good experiences, societies, hurt, family, political party, conversations. We get more and more petals, we become bigger and more complex. That's me extrapolating. With so many pieces in every single soul, it's no wonder we sometimes misunderstand each other. If we always try to meet where we don't agree, there's a good chance we will always misunderstand each other. And we will begin to believe that we will never be able to show each other love, or respect, or honor, or trust, or compassion, or loyalty, or kindness. Just see that big black mark in between the two flowers. But one petal doesn't make a person. Let me say that again. But one petal doesn't make a flower. And one part doesn't make a person. Just because we disagree about one thing doesn't mean we disagree about everything. The secret to loving anybody on earth is to decide to meet each other in the places where we do understand each other. To decide to meet where our petals touch. When we meet where our petals touch, we find magic. Soon our touching petals begin to bind our souls together, and we forget about the places where our petals don't touch. Meeting where our petals touch doesn't mean we will be best friends with every person we come across. It does mean that we can love every person perfectly, no matter how different we think they are. Because everyone has a petal labeled human. We don't try to change every flower into a rose before we'll go into the garden. We love flowers just for being flowers. And we can love humans just for being humans. By meeting where our petals touch. The end, or the beginning. So much. Again, that's where petals touch, where our petals touch by Kelly Mann. So, becoming like little children, finding out what we do share in common, being willing to open ourselves to touch each other where our petals touch is only going to result in a beautiful bouquet of many different flowers. So may we be open, may we be willing, and may we receive. And so it is. Thank you, God. One of the changes that we're making is that as we prepare for our guided meditation, we want you to, again, feel the experience of being joined together in song. So there's a simple chant that we will always sing before we go into the guided meditation. It's Holy, Holy, Holy. We'll sing it 3 times. You don't need words on the screen, although you have them. And we're going to start with We are holy, 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 and then go to You are holy, holy, and end with I am holy, holy. And then I'll go into the guided meditation. So I invite you to lean back, feel your feet on the floor, feel your back against the chair as John lowers the lights and we go into our time of meditation. So affirming our identity, affirming that we are divine, that we are holy, that we are whole. If you haven't already, I invite you to take a few slow, deep breaths as you enter your inner sanctuary. This inner sanctuary is a place, of course, that we can enter at any time we choose. So as the music takes you deeper and deeper, takes you ever more inward, I invite you to follow it. Follow that sound, to enter that place where you are in the presence of God, of the divine, by whichever name you call the incredible force of the universe. And having affirmed that we are divine, let us also affirm our connection with others. And as I read these affirmations, I invite you just to take them in and embrace them as if they were your words. I am an agent of harmony in the world. I am an agent of harmony in the world. I am one with the presence of God. I am one with the presence of God. I work with others in harmony and cooperation. No matter who I'm with, I work with others in harmony and cooperation. I give thanks for every one of my relationships. In every one of my relationships, I am always invited to open more, to love more, and I give thanks. I remember that in harmony of mind and purpose, our differences fall away. When we remember that we are all divine, and that no matter who we're with, we are looking at the face of God, we can harmonize in mind and purpose and watch as our differences fall away. And finally, we affirm together that we open our hearts to love, and that when we open our hearts to love, we are blessed with peace, joy, and harmony. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for the realization that whenever we're feeling too busy, too distracted, too challenged, all we ever have to do is just quiet ourselves long enough to realign with you. And we give thanks for the knowledge that this possibility is ours at all times. Thank you, Father, Mother, God. So, knowing that at any time you choose, you can return to that beautiful inner sanctuary. Begin now to return to our outer sanctuary. Taking another couple of deep breaths, perhaps moving your fingers or your feet. And when you're ready, opening your eyes and coming back to waking consciousness. As you might have noticed, Unity offers positive, practical, progressive spiritual teachings and tools that honor the universal truth in all religions and respects each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. And here at Unity Spiritual Center, we do have an inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live. So please join with me in saying them aloud. Our vision is centered in God. We co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Our mission is we are a creative, joy-filled spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are, we are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. And in this space, feeling renewed, feeling inspired by our teachings, our vision, our mission, and our values, let us take time now to be a channel for enrichment through our generous tithes and love offerings. Practicing the principle of tithing ourselves as a spiritual community, we will be tithing 10% of the offering collected today to the West region, to the, West Central region of Unity Churches, and to Raphael House. So please hold your blessing in your hands, perhaps place it next to your heart, and repeat with me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Arlene. You never knew that the absence of Ron would keep you so busy. Wandering by, he said, I heard you calling, I heard you talking, but you never listened to my cry. I give me some space to go face to face. I'll give you a reason why. You got to call, and then you listen. You got to live, by the light. I said the phone is ringing, the universe is calling, only get your answer machine. And outside in the sky, there's a big old bug, something that you've never seen. Eyes and ears, a moment of peace, there's something that your eyes on. That's too much, yes, that's too much. Spirit comes wandering by, he says, I heard you calling, I heard you talking, but you never listened to my reply. Give me some space to come face to face. I can get a reason why. You've got to call, and then you listen. You got to live, by the light, by the Spirit, every day and every night. Oh, you got to call, and then you listen. You got to live, by the light, gotta let us be every day and every night. Applause for my percussionists. Thank you.
Thank you. Let us bless all that we have in our wonderful community. Please join me in saying the words out loud. We give thanks.
These things, Father, in our church this very moment, we open ourselves to the infinite possibilities that are ours to choose. We are filled with a mighty faith that empowers and frees us to live our divine purpose and serve our community with excellence. Amen. Amen.
Thank you. And I think I've got a bulletin here. Maybe not. Thank you.
Borrow mine.
Yeah, thanks. That's a good idea. To thank everybody who's been giving hospitality or giving service today, including our usher, John Antoni, and Teresa there. I know she was Marcy served as ushers. Marcy also will be in the bookstore for a brief time, but we've got a lot going on this afternoon, so it won't be too long. Rosa Bundy and Kim Corbett, who are in the kitchen right now preparing things for you. Viola Washington, our greeter, and Linda McKay, who is in with the kids right now. And our new percussionist, our Linda. And everybody about to get there. I'm just about there. Yes, we have a ton of announcements to tell you, and that is one of them. But first, I want to do something that we do about every month, and that is to have somebody in our congregation honor somebody else in the congregation who's been a bright light, somebody who really is a torch for kindness. And Carol Bailey, before Rosa leaves, Rosa, don't go anywhere. Carol Bailey was our last recipient, and I believe she wanted to award the Cultivate Kindness Stole to you, Rosa Bundy. So let's give Rosa a big applause. I know, we have to award you. Right. Oh. Yeah, thank you, Rosa, for all you do. Thank you. And as Rosa said, she and Candy and I think maybe Teresa are all back there trying to do a reprise of our hot dog and root beer float fundraiser. So we had some extras, and we decided to do it for a second week in a row. So hot dogs and root beer floats are available in the Fillmore room, one for $4, two for $7. Oh, thank you. With a free bacon salad that Lakshmi made.
So you won't feel guilty
That's right.
for eating too many hot dogs and ice cream inside of a root beer.
That's right. I just realized we maybe don't have anybody set up to take tickets for that. So, John, can you do me a favor? Can you go get Janine and just tell her we're going to need people to sell tickets for the hot dogs and root beer floats? Also want to let you know that right after the service, we're having a mini volunteer fair. We have some volunteers who have very kindly volunteered to talk about their experience. We've got 5 major areas of service. One is greeting, ushering, bookstore duty, hospitality, and children's church. So if you're interested in becoming connected in a deeper way, we only ask for a once-a-month commitment. You can certainly do more if you want to, but really it's just once a month. There will be people standing behind the table with the green cloth right after the service telling you about their experience. We also have another Aramaic class with Arlene Jack, our resident Aramaic scholar. It's going to meet here in the front of the sanctuary about 12:30. She's going to finish up her look at the book of Revelation. So if you've ever wondered about that, had some questions or thoughts about that, you won't want to miss Arlene's part 2 on the book of Revelation. And that's so kind. And Arlene very generously lets the love offering for that class be donated in full to USC. So please do come. Now, you saw a full roster of things when you opened up your bulletin. I want to just go over a couple of them. This Wednesday, Karen Drucker is coming back to do the 3rd seasonal celebration that we've offered here at USC. These are so amazing. I can't express fully how marvelous an experience this is. I mean, this is Karen Drucker at keyboard. We do rituals, we do readings. It's a way to bring in the season. The fall equinox, of course, is coming up on Wednesday. So please do come if you haven't joined us before. I know you will love it, as everybody who's been here before can tell you. We also have a very busy October coming up. So you have in your bulletin, you got 2 postcards for mentioning these different events. The other events that are coming up are October 2nd, Matthew Fox, the internationally known theologian and author, is coming. He's going to spend a day with us. So he's going to be here. I'll interview him at 10. He'll give the Sunday lesson at 11, and then a workshop on creativity. That's on the first Sunday in October, October 2nd. October 9th, Karen Drucker is going to be giving the Sunday service, and we're going to have our blowout I mean, it is a blowout. Music concert, our fall concert on October 9th from 2 to 4:30. Marcy will be selling tickets for that right outside the door. There they are, following the service as well. Tickets are $30, $30 in advance, $35 at the door. If you've ever wanted to see this place with people on their feet, dancing in the aisles, the roof raised, you're not going to want to miss that concert. So the reason you got 4, you got 2 of each postcard, one for you to keep, one for you to give a friend. Please help us promote this. These are both, or actually all 3 of them are really incredible events and opportunities for us to share the goodness that is USC with others. So please do help us do that. Let's see, the challenge grant, as you know, or you will find out in a second, because I'm going to tell you, we have another challenge grant that a very generous donor has come up with to celebrate our anniversary year. And it's really fun because we're celebrating our 70th anniversary this year, and a very generous donor offered $7,070.70 to celebrate our 70th anniversary, and all we have to do is raise that amount and the donor will match it. So it's an awesome opportunity for us. We've already raised $440, so please do consider giving to that challenge grant, because as I said, your money will be matched. And we will be keeping it open through the beginning of November. We also have sponsorship opportunities for our anniversary gala, which will be on Saturday, November 5th. You'll be hearing more about that. But if you'd like to contribute toward food, party favors, entertainment, that kind of thing, you also have that opportunity, and flyers for that are on the back table with all the other information. All right, I think I covered it, so we will bring in our kids.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Today we did a project called Observations of How God Speaks to Us. And each of them had their own little idea of how God speaks to them, and they wanted to share it with you guys. So, Anna, do you want to show this?
Excellent.
Please join us in blessing our children. We
Love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the presence of God in you, empowering you to do great things.
Before we get in our circle, I just want to tell you there's a gift for you. So I want you to get the gift if you'd like. It is a little mini poster. If you enjoyed our book, Where Petals Touch, there's a little mini poster for you to take home. It's got the title and the author on it. John is giving you a visual of what you can take home. So please be sure to get one of those as you leave today. And now let us touch our petals in our circle.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Wherever I am, God is. And all is well. Thank you, God.